Welcome to Urging International for Quality Management Systems, Auditor Training Program. Requirements of Quality Management Systems ISO 9001. In this course we'll discuss about Introduction of Quality Management Systems, Context of the Organization, Leadership, Planning, Support, Operation, Performance Evaluation, and Improvement.
The adoption of a quality management system is a strategic decision for an organization that can help to improve its overall performance and provide a sound basis for sustainable development initiatives. The potential benefits to an organization of implementing a quality management system. Organization ability to consistently provide products and services that meet customer and applicable statutory and regulatory requirements. Organization can facilitating opportunities to enhance customer satisfaction. Organization able to addressing risks and opportunities associated with its context and objectives. And ability to demonstrate conformity to specified quality management system requirements. ISO 9001 international standard can be used by internal and external parties. The quality management system requirements are complementary to requirements for products and services. This international standard employs the process approach, which incorporates the plan-do-check-act cycle, and risk-based thinking. The process approach enables an organization to plan its processes, and their interactions. The PDCA cycle enables an organization to ensure that its processes are adequately resourced and managed, and that opportunities for improvement are determined and acted on. Risk-based thinking enables an organization to determine the factors that could cause its processes and its quality management system to deviate from the planned results, to put in place preventive controls to minimize negative effects, and to make maximum use of opportunities as they arise. Consistently meeting requirements and addressing future needs and expectations poses a challenge for organizations in an increasingly dynamic and complex environment. To achieve this objective, the organization might find it necessary to adopt various forms of improvement in addition to correction and continual improvement, such as breakthrough change, innovation and reorganization. Quality Management System. Quality management system comprises activities by which the organization identifies its objectives and determines the processes and resources required to achieve desired results. The quality management system manages the interacting processes and resources required to provide value and realize results for relevant interested parties. The quality management system enables top management to optimize the use of resources, considering the long and short-term consequences of their decision. A quality management system provides the means to identify actions to address intended and unintended consequences in providing products and services. The quality management principles are customer focus, leadership, engagement of people, process approach, improvement, evidence-based decision-making, and relationship management. Process approach. ISO 9001 standard promotes the adoption of a process approach when developing, implementing and improving the effectiveness of a quality management system, to enhance customer satisfaction by meeting customer requirements. Specific requirements considered essential to the adoption of a process approach we'll discuss in upcoming session. Understanding and managing interrelated processes as a system contributes to the organization's effectiveness and efficiency in achieving its intended results. This approach enables the organization to control the interrelationships and interdependencies among the processes of the system, so that the overall performance of the organization can be enhanced. The process approach involves the systematic definition and management of processes and their interactions, so as to achieve the intended results in accordance with the quality policy and strategic direction of the organization. Management of the processes and the system as a whole can be achieved using the PDCA cycle, with an overall focus on risk-based thinking, aimed at taking advantage of opportunities and preventing undesirable results. The application of the process approach in a quality management system enables understanding and consistency in meeting requirements, the consideration of processes in terms of added value, the achievement of effective process performance, improvement of processes based on evaluation of data and information. Figure gives a schematic representation of any process, and shows the interaction of its elements. The monitoring and measuring checkpoints, which are necessary for control, specific to each process, and will vary depending on the related risks. Process approach involves source of inputs, activities and outputs, possible controls and checkpoints to monitor and measure the performance of inputs, activities and outputs.
Image representation of the structure of this international standard in the Plan Do Check Act cycle. Plan: establish the objectives of the system and its processes, and the resources needed to deliver results in accordance with customers' requirements, and the organization's policies, and identify and address risks and opportunities. Do: implement what was planned. Check: monitor and measure processes, and the resulting products and services against policies, objectives, requirements and planned activities, and report the results. Act: take actions to improve performance.
Risk-based thinking is essential for achieving an effective quality management system. To conform to the requirements of ISO 9001 standard, an organization needs to plan and implement actions to address risks and opportunities. Addressing both risks and opportunities establishes a basis for increasing the effectiveness of the quality management system, achieving improved results, and preventing negative effects. Opportunities can arise as a result of a situation favorable to achieving an intended result, for example, a set of circumstances that allow the organization to attract customers, develop new products and services, reduce waste, or improve productivity. Actions to address opportunities can also include consideration of associated risks. Risk is the effect of uncertainty, and any such uncertainty can have positive or negative effects. A positive deviation arising from a risk can provide an opportunity, but not all positive effects of risk result in opportunities. Understanding the organization and its context. The organization shall determine external and internal issues that are relevant to its purpose and its strategic direction, and that affect its ability to achieve the intended results of its quality management system. The organization shall monitor and review information about these external and internal issues. Issues can include positive and negative factors, or conditions for consideration. Understanding the external context can be facilitated by considering issues arising from legal, technological, competitive, market, cultural, social and economic environments, whether international, national, regional or local. Understanding the internal context can be facilitated by considering issues related to values, culture, knowledge, and performance of the organization. Understanding the needs and expectations of interested parties. Due to their effect, or potential effect on the organization's ability to consistently provide products and services that meet customer and applicable statutory and regulatory requirements. The organization shall determine the interested parties that are relevant to the quality management system. The requirements of these interested parties that are relevant to the quality management system. The organization shall monitor and review information about these interested parties and their relevant requirements. Determining the scope of the quality management system. The organization shall determine the boundaries and applicability of the quality management system to establish its scope. When determining this scope, the organization shall consider the external and internal issues, the requirements of relevant interested parties, the products and services of the organization. The organization shall apply all the requirements of ISO 9001 International Standard, if they are applicable within the determined scope of its quality management system. The scope of the organization's quality management system shall be available and be maintained as documented information. The scope shall state the types of products and services covered, and provide justification for any requirement of ISO 9001 International Standard that the organization determines is not applicable to the scope of its quality management system. Conformity to ISO 9001 International Standard may only be claimed if the requirements determined as not being applicable do not affect the organization's ability or responsibility to ensure the conformity of its products and services, and the enhancement of customer satisfaction. Quality management system and its processes. The organization shall establish, implement, maintain and continually improve a quality management system, including the processes needed, and their interactions, in accordance with the requirements of ISO 9001 International Standard. The organization shall determine the processes needed for the quality management system, and their application throughout the organization, and shall determine the inputs required, and the outputs expected from these processes. Determine the sequence and interaction of these processes. Determine and apply the criteria and methods, including monitoring, measurements and related performance indicators, needed to ensure the effective operation and control of these processes. Determine the resources needed for these processes, and ensure their availability. Assign the responsibilities and authorities for these processes. Address the risks and opportunities, as determined in accordance with the requirements. Evaluate these processes, and implement any changes needed to ensure that these processes achieve their intended results. Improve the processes and the quality management system. The organization shall maintain documented information to support the operation of its processes. Retain documented information to have confidence that the processes are being carried out as planned. Leadership and commitment. Top management shall demonstrate leadership and commitment with respect to the quality management system by taking accountability for the effectiveness of the quality management system. Ensuring that the quality policy and quality objectives are established for the quality management system, and are compatible with the context and strategic direction of the organization. Ensuring the integration of the quality management system requirements into the organization's business processes. Promoting the use of the process approach and risk-based thinking. Ensuring that the resources needed for the quality management system are available. Communicating the importance of effective quality management, and of conforming to the quality management system requirements. Leadership and commitment. Top management shall demonstrate leadership and commitment with respect to the quality management system by ensuring that the quality management system achieves its intended results. Engaging, directing, and supporting persons to contribute to the effectiveness of the quality management system. Promoting improvement. Supporting other relevant management roles to demonstrate their leadership as it applies to their areas of responsibility. Reference to business in ISO 9001 international standard can be interpreted broadly to mean those activities that are core to the purposes of the organization's existence, whether the organization is public, private, for-profit or not-for-profit. Customer focus. Top management shall demonstrate leadership and commitment with respect to customer focus by ensuring that customer and applicable statutory and regulatory requirements are determined, understood and consistently met. The risks and opportunities that can affect conformity of products and services, and the ability to enhance customer satisfaction are determined and addressed. The focus on enhancing customer satisfaction is maintained. Establishing the quality policy. Top management shall establish, implement, and maintain a quality policy that is appropriate to the purpose and context of the organization, and supports its strategic direction. Provides a framework for setting quality objectives. Includes a commitment to satisfy applicable requirements. Include a commitment to continual improvement of the quality management system. Communicating the quality policy. The quality policy shall be available, and be maintained as documented information, be communicated, understood and applied within the organization, as appropriate, be available to relevant interested parties. Organizational roles, responsibilities and authorities. Top management shall ensure that the responsibilities and authorities for relevant roles are assigned, communicated, and understood within the organization. Top management shall assign the responsibility and authority for ensuring that the quality management system conforms to the requirements of ISO 9001 international standard. Ensuring that the processes are delivering their intended outputs. Reporting on the performance of the quality management system, and on opportunities for improvement, in particular to top management. Ensuring the promotion of customer focus throughout the organization. Ensuring that the integrity of the quality management system is maintained when changes to the quality management system are planned and implemented. Planning. Actions to address risks and opportunities. When planning for the quality management system, the organization shall consider the issues and the requirements, and determine the risks and opportunities that need to be addressed to give assurance that the quality management system can achieve its intended results. Enhance desirable effects. Prevent, or reduce, undesired effects. And achieve improvement. The organization shall plan actions to address these risks and opportunities. How to integrate and implement the actions into its quality management system processes. How to evaluate the effectiveness of these actions. Actions taken to address risks and opportunities shall be proportionate to the potential impact on the conformity of products and services. Options to address risks can include avoiding risk, taking risk in order to pursue an opportunity, eliminating the risk source, changing the likelihood or consequences, sharing the risk, or retaining risk-informed decision. Opportunities can lead to the adoption of new practices, launching new products, opening new markets, addressing new customers, building partnerships, using new technology, and other desirable and viable possibilities to address the organization's or its customers' needs. Quality objectives and planning to achieve them. The organization shall establish quality objectives at relevant functions, levels, and processes needed for the quality management system. The quality objectives shall be consistent with the quality policy, be measurable, take into account applicable requirements, be relevant to conformity of products and services, and to enhancement of customer satisfaction, be monitored, be communicated, be updated as appropriate. The organization shall maintain documented information on the quality objectives. When planning how to achieve its quality objectives, the organization shall determine what will be done, what resources will be required, who will be responsible, when it will be completed, how the results will be evaluated. Planning of changes. When the organization determines the need for changes to the quality management system, the changes shall be carried out in a planned manner. The organization shall consider the purpose of the changes, and their potential consequences, the integrity of the quality management system, the availability of resources, the allocation, or reallocation of responsibilities and authorities. Support. Resources. The organization shall determine and provide the resources needed for the establishment, implementation, maintenance, and continual improvement of the quality management system. The organization shall consider the capabilities of, and constraints on, existing internal resources. What needs to be obtained from external providers. Infrastructure. The organization shall determine, provide, and maintain the infrastructure necessary for the operation of its processes, and to achieve conformity of products and services. Infrastructure can include buildings and associated utilities, equipment, including hardware and software, transportation resources, information and communication technology.
Resources. People. The organization shall determine and provide the persons necessary for the effective implementation of quality management system, and for the operation and control of processes. Environment for the operation of processes. The organization shall determine, provide, and maintain the environment necessary for the operation of processes, and to achieve conformity of products and services. A suitable environment can be a combination of human and physical factors, such as social, for example non-discriminatory, calm, non-confrontational. Psychological, for example stress-reducing, burnout prevention, emotionally protective. Physical, for example temperature, heat, humidity, light, airflow, hygiene, noise. These factors can differ substantially depending on the products and services provided.
Monitoring and measuring resources. The organization shall determine and provide the resources needed to ensure valid and reliable results when monitoring or measuring is used to verify the conformity of products and services to requirements. The organization shall ensure that the resources provided resources are suitable for the specific type of monitoring and measurement activities being undertaken. Resources are maintained to ensure their continuing fitness for their purpose. The organization shall retain appropriate documented information as evidence of fitness for the purpose of monitoring and measurement resources. Measurement traceability. When measurement traceability is a requirement, or is considered by the organization to be an essential part of providing confidence in the validity of measurement results, measuring equipment shall be calibrated or verified, or both, at specified intervals, or prior to use, against measurement standards, traceable to international or national measurement standards. When no such standards exist, the basis used for calibration or verification shall be retained as documented information. Identified in order to determine their status. Safeguarded from adjustments, damage or deterioration, that would invalidate the calibration status, and subsequent measurement results. The organization shall determine if the validity of previous measurement results has been adversely affected, when measuring equipment is found to be unfit for its intended purpose, and shall take appropriate action as necessary. Organizational knowledge. The organization shall determine the knowledge necessary for the operation of processes, and to achieve conformity of products and services. This knowledge shall be maintained, and be made available to the extent necessary. When addressing changing needs and trends, the organization shall consider its current knowledge, and determine how to acquire, or access any necessary additional knowledge and required updates. Organizational knowledge is knowledge specific to the organization. It is generally gained by experience. It is information that is used and shared to achieve the organization's objectives. Organizational knowledge can be based on internal sources, for example intellectual property, knowledge gained from experience, lessons learned from failures and successful projects, capturing and sharing undocumented knowledge and experience, the results of improvements in processes, products and services. External sources, for example standards, academia, conferences, gathering knowledge from customers or external providers. Competence. The organization shall determine the necessary competence of persons doing work under its control, that affects the performance and effectiveness of the quality management system. Organization shall ensure that these persons are competent on the basis of appropriate education, training, or experience. Where applicable, take actions to acquire the necessary competence, and evaluate the effectiveness of the actions taken. Organization shall retain appropriate documented information as evidence of competence. Applicable actions can include, for example, the provision of training, the mentoring, or the reassignment of currently employed persons, or the hiring, or contracting of competent persons. Awareness. The organization shall ensure that persons doing work under the organization's control are aware of the quality policy, relevant quality objectives, their contribution to the effectiveness of the quality management system, including the benefits of improved performance, and the implications of not conforming with the quality management system requirements. Communication. The organization shall determine the internal and external communications relevant to the quality management system, including on what it will communicate, when to communicate, with whom to communicate, how to communicate, and who communicates. Documented information. The organization's quality management system shall include documented information required by ISO 9001 international standard, documented information determined by the organization as being necessary for the effectiveness of the quality management system. The extent of documented information for a quality management system can differ from one organization to another, due to the size of organization, and its type of activities, processes, products and services, the complexity of processes and their interactions, and the competence of persons. Creating and updating. When creating and updating documented information, the organization shall ensure appropriate identification and description, for example a title, date, author, or reference number, format, for example language, software version, graphics, and media, for example paper, or electronic, review and approval for suitability and adequacy. Control of documented information. Documented information required by the quality management system, and by ISO 9001 international standard shall be controlled to ensure it is available and suitable for use, where and when it is needed, it is adequately protected, for example from loss of confidentiality, improper use, or loss of integrity. For the control of documented information, the organization shall address the following activities, as applicable: distribution, access, retrieval and use, storage and preservation, including preservation of legibility, control of changes, for example version control, retention and disposition. Documented information of external origin, determined by the organization to be necessary for the planning and operation of the quality management system shall be identified as appropriate, and be controlled. Documented information retained as evidence of conformity shall be protected from unintended alterations. Access can imply a decision regarding the permission to view the documented information only, or the permission and authority to view and change the documented information. Operational planning and control. The organization shall plan, implement, and control the processes needed to meet the requirements for the provision of products and services, and to implement the actions by determining the requirements for the products and services, establishing criteria for the processes and the acceptance of products and services, determining the resources needed to achieve conformity to the product and service requirements, implementing control of the processes in accordance with the criteria, determining, maintaining, and retaining documented information to the extent necessary to have confidence that the processes have been carried out as planned, and to demonstrate the conformity of products and services to their requirements. The output of this planning shall be suitable for the organization's operations. The organization shall control planned changes, and review the consequences of unintended changes, taking action to mitigate any adverse effects. The organization shall ensure that outsourced processes are controlled. Customer communication. Communication with customers shall include providing information relating to products and services, handling inquiries, contracts or orders, including changes, obtaining customer feedback relating to products and services, including customer complaints, handling or controlling customer property, establishing specific requirements for contingency actions. Determining the requirements for products and services. When determining the requirements for the products and services to be offered to customers, the organization shall ensure that the requirements for the products and services are defined, including any applicable statutory and regulatory requirements, and those considered necessary by the organization. The organization can meet the claims for the products and services it offers. Review of the requirements for products and services. The organization shall ensure that it has the ability to meet the requirements for products and services to be offered to customers. The organization shall conduct a review before committing to supply products and services to a customer, to include requirements specified by the customer, including the requirements for delivery and post-delivery activities. Requirements not stated by the customer, but necessary for the specified or intended use when known. Requirements specified by the organization. Statutory and regulatory requirements applicable to the products and services. Contract or order requirements differing from those previously expressed. The organization shall ensure that contract or order requirements differing from those previously defined are resolved. The customer's requirements shall be confirmed by the organization before acceptance, when the customer does not provide a documented statement of their requirements. In some situations, such as internet sales, a formal review is impractical for each order. Instead, the review can cover relevant product information, such as catalogs. The organization shall retain documented information, as applicable, on the results of the review, on any new requirements for the products and services. Changes to requirements for products and services. The organization shall ensure that relevant documented information is amended, and that relevant persons are made aware of the changed requirements, when the requirements for products and services are changed. Design and development of products and services. The organization shall establish, implement, and maintain a design and development process that is appropriate to ensure the subsequent provision of products and services. Design and development planning. In determining the stages and controls for design and development, the organization shall consider the nature, duration, and complexity of the design and development activities. The required process stages, including applicable design and development reviews. The required design and development verification and validation activities. The responsibilities and authorities involved in the design and development process. The internal and external resource needs for the design and development of products and services. The need to control interfaces between persons involved in the design and development process. The need for involvement of customers and users in the design and development process, the requirements for subsequent provision of products and services, the level of control expected for the design and development process by customers, and other relevant interested parties, the documented information needed to demonstrate that design and development requirements have been met. Design and development inputs. The organization shall determine the requirements essential for the specific types of products and services to be designed and developed. The organization shall consider functional and performance requirements, information derived from previous similar design and development activities, statutory and regulatory requirements, standards or codes of practice that the organization has committed to implement, potential consequences of failure due to the nature of the products and services. Inputs shall be adequate for design and development purposes, complete and unambiguous. Conflicting design and development inputs shall be resolved. The organization shall retain documented information on design and development inputs. Design and development controls. The organization shall apply controls to the design and development process to ensure that the results to be achieved are defined. Reviews are conducted to evaluate the ability of the results of design and development to meet requirements. Verification activities are conducted to ensure that the design and development outputs meet the input requirements. Validation activities are conducted to ensure that the resulting products and services meet the requirements for the specified application or intended use. Any necessary actions are taken on problems determined during the reviews, or verification and validation activities. Documented information of these activities is retained. Design and development reviews, verification and validation have distinct purposes. They can be conducted separately, or in any combination, as is suitable for the products and services of the organization. Design and development outputs. The organization shall ensure that design and development outputs meet the input requirements, are adequate for the subsequent processes for the provision of products and services, include or reference monitoring and measuring requirements, as appropriate, and acceptance criteria. Specify the characteristics of the products and services that are essential for their intended purpose, and their safe and proper provision. The organization shall retain documented information on design and development outputs. Design and development changes. The organization shall identify, review and control changes made during, or subsequent to the design and development of products and services, to the extent necessary to ensure that there is no adverse impact on conformity to requirements. The organization shall retain documented information on design and development changes, the results of reviews, the authorization of the changes, the actions taken to prevent adverse impacts. Control of externally provided processes, products and services. The organization shall ensure that externally provided processes, products and services conform to requirements. The organization shall determine the controls to be applied to externally provided processes, products and services. Products and services from external providers are intended for incorporation into the organization's own products and services. Products and services are provided directly to the customers by external providers on behalf of the organization. A process, or part of a process, is provided by an external provider as a result of a decision by the organization. The organization shall determine and apply criteria for the evaluation, selection, monitoring of performance, and re-evaluation of external providers, based on their ability to provide processes, or products and services in accordance with requirements. The organization shall retain documented information of these activities, and any necessary actions arising from the evaluations.
Type and extent of control. The organization shall ensure that externally provided processes, products and services that do not adversely affect the organization's ability to consistently deliver conforming products and services to customers. The organization shall ensure that externally provided processes remain within the control of quality management system. Define both the controls that intends to apply to an external provider and those intends to apply to the resulting output. Take into consideration the potential impact of the externally provided processes, products and services on the organization's ability to consistently meet customer and applicable statutory and regulatory requirements. The effectiveness of the controls applied by the external provider. Determine the verification, or other activities, necessary to ensure that the externally provided processes, Products and services meet requirements. Information for external providers. The organization shall ensure the adequacy of requirements prior to their communication to the external provider. The organization shall communicate to external providers its requirements for the processes, products and services to be provided, the approval of products and services, and methods, processes and equipment. Control of production and service provision. The organization shall implement production and service provision under controlled conditions. Controlled conditions shall include the availability of documented information that defines the characteristics of the products to be produced, the services to be provided, or the activities to be performed, the results to be achieved, the availability and use of suitable monitoring and measuring resources. Control of production and service provision. The implementation of monitoring and measurement activities at appropriate stages to verify the criteria for control of processes or outputs and acceptance criteria for products and services have been met. The use of suitable infrastructure and environment for the operation of processes. The appointment of competent persons, including any required qualification. The validation and periodic revalidation of the ability to achieve planned results of the processes for production and service provision, where the resulting output cannot be verified by subsequent monitoring or measurement. The implementation of actions to prevent human error. The implementation of release, delivery and post-delivery activities. Identification and traceability. The organization shall use suitable means to identify outputs, when it is necessary to ensure the conformity of products and services. The organization shall identify the status of outputs with respect to monitoring and measurement requirements, throughout production and service provision. The organization shall control the unique identification of the outputs, when traceability is a requirement, and shall retain the documented information necessary to enable traceability. Property belonging to customers or external providers. The organization shall exercise care with property belonging to customers or external providers, while it is under the organization's control, or being used by the organization. The organization shall identify, verify, protect and safeguard customers, or external providers' property provided for use, or incorporation into the products and services. When the property of a customer or external provider is lost, damaged or otherwise found to be unsuitable for use, the organization shall report this to the customer, or external provider, and retain documented information on what has occurred. A customer's or external provider's property can include materials, components, tools and equipment, premises, intellectual property and personal data. Preservation. The organization shall preserve the outputs during production and service provision, to the extent necessary to ensure conformity to requirements. Preservation can include identification, handling, contamination control, packaging, storage, transmission or transportation, and protection. Post-delivery activities. The organization shall meet requirements for post-delivery activities associated with the products and services. In determining the extent of post-delivery activities that are required, the organization shall consider statutory and regulatory requirements, the potential undesired consequences associated with its products and services, the nature, use and intended lifetime of its products and services, customer requirements, customer feedback. Post-delivery activities can include actions under warranty provisions, contractual obligations such as maintenance services, and supplementary services such as recycling, or final disposal. Control of changes. The organization shall review and control changes for production or service provision, to the extent necessary to ensure continuing conformity with requirements. The organization shall retain documented information describing the results of the review of changes, the persons authorizing the change, and any necessary actions arising from the review. Release of products and services. The organization shall implement planned arrangements, at appropriate stages, to verify that the product and service requirements have been met. The release of products and services to the customer shall not proceed until the planned arrangements have been satisfactorily completed, unless otherwise approved by a relevant authority and, as applicable, by the customer. The organization shall retain documented information on the release of products and services. The documented information shall include evidence of conformity with the acceptance criteria, and traceability to the persons authorizing the release. Control of non-conforming outputs. The organization shall ensure that outputs that do not conform to their requirements are identified and controlled to prevent their unintended use or delivery. The organization shall take appropriate action based on the nature of the nonconformity and its effect on the conformity of products and services. This shall also apply to nonconforming products and services detected after delivery of products, during or after the provision of services. The organization shall deal with nonconforming outputs in one or more of the following ways: correction, segregation, containment, return or suspension of provision of products and services, informing the customer, obtaining authorization for acceptance under concession. Conformity to the requirements shall be verified when nonconforming outputs are corrected. The organization shall retain documented information that describes the nonconformity, describes the actions taken, describes any concessions obtained, identifies the authority deciding the action in respect of the nonconformity. Performance evaluation, monitoring, measurement, analysis and evaluation. The organization shall determine what needs to be monitored and measured, the methods for monitoring, measurement, analysis and evaluation needed to ensure valid results, when the monitoring and measuring shall be performed, when the results from monitoring and measurement shall be analyzed and evaluated. The organization shall evaluate the performance and the effectiveness of the quality management system. The organization shall retain appropriate documented information as evidence of the results. Customer satisfaction. The organization shall monitor customers' perceptions of the degree to which their needs and expectations have been fulfilled. The organization shall determine the methods for obtaining, monitoring, and reviewing this information. Examples of monitoring customer perceptions can include customer surveys, customer feedback on delivered products and services, meetings with customers, market share analysis, compliments, warranty claims, and dealer reports. Analysis and evaluation. The organization shall analyze and evaluate appropriate data and information arising from monitoring and measurement. The results of analysis shall be used to evaluate conformity of products and services, the degree of customer satisfaction, the performance and effectiveness of the quality management system, if planning has been implemented effectively, the effectiveness of actions taken to address risks and opportunities, the performance of external providers, the need for improvements to the quality management system. Methods to analyze data can include statistical techniques. Internal audit. The organization shall conduct internal audits at planned intervals to provide information on whether the quality management system conforms to the organization's own requirements for quality management system, the requirements of ISO 9001 international standard, and quality management system is effectively implemented and maintained. The organization shall plan, establish, implement, and maintain an audit programs including the frequency, methods, responsibilities, planning requirements and reporting, which shall take into consideration the importance of the processes concerned, changes affecting the organization, and the results of previous audits. Define the audit criteria and scope for each audit. Select auditors, and conduct audits to ensure objectivity and the impartiality of the audit process. Ensure that the results of the audits are reported to relevant management. Take appropriate correction and corrective actions without undue delay. Retain documented information as evidence of the implementation of the audit program and the audit results. Top management shall review the organization's quality management system at planned intervals to ensure its continuing suitability, adequacy, effectiveness and alignment with the strategic direction of the organization. Inputs of management review. The management review shall be planned and carried out taking into consideration the status of actions from previous management reviews, changes in external and internal issues that are relevant to the quality management system, Information on the performance and effectiveness of the quality management system, including trends in customer satisfaction and feedback from relevant interested parties. The extent to which quality objectives have been met. Process performance and conformity of products and services. Nonconformities and corrective actions. Inputs of management review, monitoring and measurement results, audit results, the performance of external providers, the adequacy of resources, the effectiveness of actions taken to address risks and opportunities for improvement. The outputs of the management review shall include decisions and actions related to opportunities for improvement, any need for changes to the quality management system, resource needs. The organization shall retain documented information as evidence of the results of management reviews. The organization shall determine and select opportunities for improvement, and implement any necessary actions to meet customer requirements and enhance customer satisfaction. These shall include improving products and services to meet requirements, as well as to address future needs and expectations. Correcting, preventing or reducing undesired effects. Improving the performance and effectiveness of the quality management system. Examples of improvement can include correction, corrective action, continual improvement, breakthrough change, innovation and reorganization. Improvement, nonconformity and corrective action. When a nonconformity occurs, including any arising from complaints, the organization shall react to the nonconformity and, as applicable, take action to control and correct it, deal with the consequences, evaluate the need for action to eliminate the causes of the nonconformity, in order that it does not recur or occur elsewhere, by reviewing and analyzing the nonconformity, determining the causes of the nonconformity, determining if similar nonconformities exist, or could potentially occur. Nonconformity and corrective action. Implement any action needed, review the effectiveness of any corrective action taken, if necessary, update risks and opportunities determined during planning, if necessary, make changes to the quality management system. Corrective actions shall be appropriate to the effects of the nonconformities encountered. The organization shall retain documented information as evidence of the nature of the nonconformities, and any subsequent actions taken, and the results of any corrective action. Continual improvement. The organization shall continually improve the suitability, adequacy and effectiveness of the quality management system. The organization shall consider the results of analysis and evaluation, and the outputs from management review, to determine if there are needs or opportunities that shall be addressed as part of continual improvement. Thanks for joining. All the best for your examination.